Hello guys, good to see you back. This is the another tutorial related advanced JavaScript, and in this tutorial we are going to learn REST operator. REST operator introduced in JavaScript ES6 version. And before we understand REST operator, we need to understand function with multiple arguments. Because REST operator introduced to resolve argument related problem. So let me show you the problem. Suppose here we create a function named sum, and it's going to sum two numeric value. And then I'm going to print this value in my console. So whenever I call this function, as a parameter, we need to pass total two value. In our case, 20 and 30. So this function going to work perfectly. But what? If we pass total 3 parameter, otherwise 4 parameter. So if we pass more than 2 value, then this function not going to perform this calculation. It's going to throw an error. Because we create this function to add only 2 numbers. Before ES6 version, JavaScript already provides a solution, where we need to create a function. Then we need to use a inbuilt function, which is arguments. And we need to use it with for loop, for I in arguments. This argument function going to create object. If we pass total 2 value, then using 2 value is going to create an object. Similarly for 3 and similarly for 4 value. And as you know, to print the object, we need to use for in loop. But in our case, I want to return this sum value of these 4 arguments. For that, here I need to declare a variable. Let sum assign with 0. And as you know, our for in loop going to run for every value of argument object. Suppose if we pass 3 value, then this loop going to run for 3 times. For that, every time we need to add new value to the sum value. Sum plus equal to arguments. Inside the square braces, we need to pass the index number of this object. Then at last, we need to print the sum value. I know you are already familiar with this process. This is the older method that we can achieve the result. So this function going to work perfectly. But what? If we pass any string value in our argument, suppose I pass a string value in our first parameter, but our other 2 value is numeric value. This time I want to add this 2 value, but I want to leave our string value. As you know, we cannot sum string value with numeric value. At the same way, if we pass other multiple values, in that case, this function not going to work properly. To resolve this kind of problem, ES6 version introduced REST operator. In REST operator, we move unused value in a other variable. And the rest value except this one, we store it in other variable. And we make this variable an array, something like that. Here you can see, in some function, we take total 2 parameters. Our first parameter is name. So it's going to store the first string value in this variable. And then you can see total 3 dots. 3 dots mean REST operator. And here we take a variable name, args. And you can take any variable name. It's up to you. Args mean arguments. It means the rest of the arguments except first one. Except first one, it's going to store all the value in this argument. And this arg become an array. And this process is called REST operator. And now we need to run for in loop only for this argument. I mean this array. Something like that. Here we run a for loop for let I in args. It means all the item in this array. And if we want to sum this argument, we need to follow the same process. First we need to declare a variable. Let sum assign with 0. Then sum plus equal to args. Inside the square braces, we need to pass the index number. Then next we can print this value in our document, otherwise console. And if we want to use the name, yes we can. We can use the name, otherwise we can print the name differently. So with this sum value, I want to print the name. For that, console.log, inside the round braces, we can use this variable. So I hope now you understand the problem, why we use REST operator. So without wasting your time, let's start the practical and learn it in details. So as you can see, side by side, I open my Visual Studio Code editor and my browser using Live Server extension. And I already created an HTML document named index.html. So at first, inside the script tag, I'm going to create a function. For that, we need to use function keyword. function and our function name is sum. Then round braces. Then inside the curly braces, for now I'm going to leave it blank. Then outside the curly braces, I want to call this function. So I want to type sum. Then inside the round braces, here I'm going to pass total 3 arguments. These are all numeric value, 20, 30 and 40. And again, I'm going to duplicate this line. And this time, I'm going to pass total 4 arguments, 50. And now, I decide I want to pass a string value as argument. So here, I'm going to type a name, a string value. And the string value is add1 range. So inside the double quote, I'm going to type add1 range. At the same way, I want to add a string value here. And here I'm going to pass a name. And the name is Steve Smith. And I'm going to save this file. And now I want to store the first argument in a different variable. And rest of the argument in a different variable. For that, we need to use rest operator. So, for the name, I'm going to create a variable. And the variable name is name, comma. Then, we need to use rest operator. And as I told you, to use rest operator, we need to use 3 dot. It means the rest operator. And for the rest of the argument, I'm going to take a variable name. And the variable name is total. So this name parameter is going to store the first argument. And for the rest of the numeric arguments, I'm going to use total variable. It's an array. Now, in our function, with the name of the student, I want to print their total. So first, I'm going to calculate the total. To calculate the total, we need to declare a variable. Let, and our variable name is sum. Sum assigned with 0. I am not going to confuse the variable name with function name. That's why I'm going to use S in capital. Let sum equal to 0. Then I'm going to use for in loop. For inside the round braces, let I in total. This for loop going to run total 3 times because here we pass total 3 value in total variable. Similarly, next time it's going to run for 4th time because here we pass total 4 value. Then inside the for loop, I'm going to increment the sum value. So I'm going to type sum plus equal to total inside the square braces I and semicolon to end this line. So it's going to return the total. And now I want to print student name with their total. For that, here I'm going to type document dot write inside the round braces. I'm going to use backticks. Here I'm going to use template string method. Then inside the backticks, I'm going to type the total of $, curly braces. I'm going to pass the student name. So I call the name variable is, again I'm going to use $, and inside the curly braces, this time I'm going to call the total, means sum, and semicolon to in this line. So here we pass the name value, which we pass as an argument. Now, if I save this file, as you can see in my browser, it's written the result. But here we need to use a BR tag. So I'm going to use concatenation sign, and inside the double quotes, I'm going to use BR tag. So if I save this file again, you can see the result. The total of add1 means is 90. And the total of Steve Smith is 140. And if you want to pass another string argument in this function, yes, you can. You can pass multiple arguments. It is up to you. So here I'm going to use another comma, and between them, here I'm going to pass their college name. Add1 is from MIT. And Smith is from IIT. So now we need to store both the argument in a different variable. For add1 means I'm going to save it in a name variable. And for MIT, I'm going to save it in a college variable. That's it. So I decide I want to print their college name with total. So here I'm going to type the total of advanced means is, after print the total, here I'm going to type space from, again I'm going to use $sign inside the curly braces, college. If I save this file, you can see the result. The total number of advanced is 90 from MIT. Now it's clear for you what is the usage of REST operator and how it's work. Now the question is order is matter in REST operator? Yes, it's matter. And if we change the order of the REST operator, let me show you. So I'm going to cut and I'm going to use REST operator as first parameter. If I save this file, as you can see in my console, it's going to return error. Uncaught syntax error. REST parameter must be last formal parameter. So we cannot use REST operator at start position. So we need to place it last position of the parameter. Then it's work perfectly. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So this is it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we are going to learn spread operator. So thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for the next tutorial.